I know. This is a
Truly.
problem, right? And we don't want that. So that's really interesting. The other thing that I find is that there's so much misinformation out there, and everybody thinks it's so on the one hand, all this IP is really complicated, but on the other hand, it's really not, right? So the goal is to sort of, starting in May, to start to, because all I've been doing is gathering and learning, but next is to sort of do the next step, which is explaining, right? So that, like, we still need to understand specific industries. Like, I would like to do all the batting companies and, look at fabric companies and sort of get more deep dive on that. But from my side of it is, I'm starting to understand where people don't they don't understand necessarily how that a method can't be copyrighted, right? Like all these sort of really basic kind of concepts that which is amazing. So I think that's my giving back, is to sort of say, okay, when should you start to worry? And I love Heather Kubiak, who's one of our main people as well, who her philosophy is just ask. Like, there's no coming from a litigation background, and she knows it. Like, she is a shark in a most amazing way. She's just so she's going to help, and there's another law professor that's incredible that does a lot of art quilt stuff that's going to help with that too. So I think we're just finally thinking all of this. We had to understand what's happening before we could start to explain it to people. So so that's kind of where we're at. But it's kind of really remarkable this industry is just so amazing. And to kind of have a window in, I feel very blessed to be here learning about all of it. It's really amazing.
It's a good industry at heart. Like, as much as we're all out to capitalize and make money at this, and corporate machine and all that, they're really at the end of the day, and like I've said before, even on your podcast, is our job is someone else's hobby. And we make things that make people happy.
Right.
And, when I worked in comics, it was a great industry to work in. Quilting is a great industry to work in, because when you go to a show and people are walking around, they are happy.
Yeah.
They're there because they're there because they love the quilts, they love to make quilts, they love the fabric, or they just like to look at them.
Yeah.
And you're not going to really find that total, angry person or whatever at a quilt show. You're just not, because
and
they're in their happy zone.
Well, and they're such, it's kind of amazing to me that, like, all the people I'm meeting, it doesn't matter what your background is. Oftentimes I don't even know what their background is. There's a love of it. There's a joy, and they're doing it because they want to. And they're often doing all this charity quilting or protest quilting or whatever they're doing. Yeah. And it's like, how cool is that? And it's usually, there are men, and I love that the men are great. So I'm not saying being anti, but it's, mostly women, my age and older, that have had their career, that have done stuff, that have been doing stuff for everybody else for their whole life, and that quilting's their thing, like their own room of their own. Yes. Like Virginia Woolf, room of one's own. I get to make it the way I want to, and I have friends, and it's just different, and it's amazing. Mm-hmm. So that part of it is like kind of always brings me to tears, because it's like, it's just different. It's more than just the quilting. It's more than just. It's just that it really does feel. It's just cool. There's just more to it than just that. It's more.
Oh no! I mean, when I've had the worst of days, and I could have like the absolute worst day, put me in front of my sewing machine, and things are a million times better. So and people will say, like, even people who know me, they're like, oh, you must have sewn today. You're in a great mood. And I love that. It is our zone. And I think that, it's, again, we're very lucky to be working in this industry. I think,
Well,
I count those blessings every day.
Well, I'm a visitor, and I'm just amazed at it's been an amazing experience so far. So it's been really cool, and we're going to, we've got to get down to the serious work of writing soon, but right now it's fun to just learn and experience, so.
That's awesome.
Yeah. Well, cool.
Very cool. Well, good luck with your giveaway.
Yes. It's going on for a week, and we're like looking at the numbers and watching it and seeing. And then we'll just figure out what we do next. I think part of it is I also want to just give people presents, like people on our website that have just been great, that just like be like,
yes,
like I'm sending you, because we keep getting all the sample stuff, and the samples are kind of stressing me out because like it just is like a lot of stuff that like I feel like I should be doing. So if I can get it out to people and they use it, it would be super great. So that's kind of the next phase is like, you know, can you
right.
Oh, and I have to tell you, somebody sent us, I have to tell this, somebody sent us a ruler with a, you know, like a cutting mat with a thingamajiggy to make strips that is like, anyway. So I gave it to somebody to try it, and then they brought it to their quilt guild, and then the quilt guild did all these like Facebook posts of like them using it, and they won't give it back. So I just thought that was great. Like that's exactly what should happen, right? That's more interesting than a giveaway to me, is like giving it out, right? Like sending it out into the world and seeing where it goes. And
you know, and their experience with it. And, you know, to me, that's really interesting. I mean, I think that, you know, again, it's sort of, you know, again, from a branding or a marketing perspective, like what better, you know, marketing could you get than that kind of word of mouth, you know?
Yeah, it's so great.
But then, also, you know, from your perspective, where you're, you know, an education institution and,
right.
you know, putting it out there in the world is a great thing. And
totally.
The best thing to do is to ask them for that feedback.
Right.
You know, like, you know, we'll send you stuff.
Right.
We'll ask to be on our list.
Right.
And then we'll send you stuff as long as you make sure you reply back.
Yeah. So
the maintenance of that, though, is where it gets you.
Totally. We had one, one person who loved it, that she just put it in her purse and then was like, where'd it go? So she's like, yeah, I was just going to take it home. So like, go for it, you know, like that's good, you know, that's great. And I feel like,
man, yeah,
and we're not reviewing it, you know, it's not about review, but if someone falls in love with something, that's great. You know, the point is just experience it. And,
well, and, you know, you're not the only person who, you know, you're not the only institution that's happening to, right? So, like magazines, for example. And I've had the, you know, the pleasure to work with many magazines over the years. And, you know, they get samples and review samples all the time, like in hopes that one of it will end up in the magazine. Yeah. But in the end, you know, what you have then is a closet that, you know, is all these samples and all these products.
Right.
And, you know, then it's like, all right, the staff needs to come in here and and clean it out. And that happened at the comic book industry stuff all the time. Like we had like these quarterly cleanouts, and it was like a bonanza. I mean, like
that's so funny.
Half the collectibles I have in my house are because of their, you know, samples or prototypes, because, you know, we got sent so many things like that, you know.
Amazing. Well, and I have to tell you, and we'll turn it off, but it's so funny because I said to you know, our mail room at the law school, I said, well, I'm going to be mailing some stuff out. Is there any limit on what I can mail out? And they're like, well, nobody's ever asked. It's like, is it personal? I'm like, it's not personal. It's for my, you know, my work, my job. So we'll see how long as I start to mail things around the country. Like, at what point do I get cut off from the law school as I send out, you know, spools of thread? And
they're like, we're reviewing your expenditures, your postage, and you seem to have gone over your limit.
Exactly. So we'll see. They're like, well, we don't have limits now, but, you know, are you going to create limits for the rest of the faculty? So I don't know. We'll see. So it's fun. I really appreciate you talking to me about this stuff, because it really has been a really interesting week. And I know we're going to go off and talk about a few more things, but I just want to, before as we end officially, thank you so much. And you are such an anchor to this project for me, because I really don't understand when certain things happen, and I really appreciate your insight. It means a lot.
Oh, no problem. I appreciate, you know, giving me the opportunity to share. It's always a pleasure.
You're awesome. All right, I'm turning off the recording. All right. So this is Elizabeth Townsend Guard. You've been listening to Just Wanna Quilt, a research podcast coming out of Tulane University Law School. We want to hear from you. Join our army, our quilting army. Go to our Facebook page. Suggest people to be interviewed. Suggest yourself to be interviewed. We are excited to hear from you. But most importantly, I hope you get a chance to quilt today.